Okay, welcome back to the Great Spiffy Rich channel on YouTube. It's really fulfilled everyone's deepest wishes. Yeah, I'm going to do a pain update. We're into July 6th, 2025. Let me verify on my phone here. Yeah, July 6th, 2025. So what that means is more time has gone by being in pain. So I figured I'd talk about what happened during that time. So, I've been continuing to try to get my body to adapt to being a body, and my musculoskeletal system to cooperate and move like it's supposed to. But I will say it's been one hell of a battle. It's not been easy, and it's been extremely painful, and it continues. So I have, I've had a lot of weird things happen. Things I didn't really notice, but then I noticed when they came back. So I lost my ability to feel my own internal temperature. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not like I lost the ability completely, but I could not feel. I didn't feel hot, and I didn't feel like I was sweating that much. So, for instance, I have a sauna blanket, and I was using that to try to get my muscles who were stuck, locked tight, trying to get them to loosen up a little bit so I could stretch them. And I would be in 165 degrees. Usually that's where I set it. And I barely had any sweat. I wasn't even sweating that much. And I didn't feel that hot, but it was hot. I knew it was hot. And, I did that for months. And, throughout this journey of trying to get my body to adapt, at some point, I started feeling, well, the first thing that happened was I started smelling. I started developing a body odor. Something moved, some tissue moved or unlocked a little bit, and all of a sudden it was draining. Whatever was trapped in my tissue was draining now, but it was coming out all at once. So I had like a month straight I had bad BO, and I was like, what is this? It smelled like onions, and there was nothing I could do. It was just like a month of onions, and then it went away. Then the body normalized, or whatever, it purged enough. Whatever was built up in there released enough to normalize. And then the next thing that happened, weeks later, maybe a couple months later, I don't remember exactly. The next thing that happened was I started getting really hot. I was starting to get flushed in my face, and I started sweating easily. Like I was just pouring sweat without hardly doing anything. I was like, I'm down here. It's, you know, it's cold out, and I'm feeling really hot. And then I tried to go in the sauna blanket again, which I hadn't used for a while because it didn't feel like I need to use it anymore. The reason I was using it was to try to get my muscles to give enough, but I had made a little bit of progress, so I stopped using it, and I just wanted to test it out again. And I set it to the same 165 temperature that I always set it at, and I was sweating like crazy, and I was really uncomfortably hot for the same setting that barely did anything before. Like I didn't even feel it. I would sit there, you know, for an hour and be like, all right, I did my hour, and now I'm like 5 minutes in, and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not gonna make it past 15 minutes. So I don't know what that is, but you know, it's all locked up tissue, connective tissue, muscles, and joints that are stuck. All that stuff, you know, brings a whole lot of symptoms to come with it when things start failing, losing your ability to function. And I can go in further depth from the past 3.5 years of trying to rehabilitate what has changed and what I was feeling. But I'm just talking about my update now. It gets really bad. Essentially, what I'm explaining, like, it exponentially gets worse the more your body stiffens up in pain, the more extreme it gets, both functioning and sensation of pain. So don't do that, right? The advice is to not allow this to ever happen. The problem is, it is not something that is innate. It is not something that we know, and it is not taught. In fact, I think we have way too much distraction that prevents us from, being able to prevent our own disease processes. I think we live in an unhealthy culture, an unhealthy society, and we hurt people by design. Normalized abuse is a term that I've heard that makes sense. Yeah, normalized abuse. That's what is happening. But you don't really know until you've walked through it and have tested the waters that is the case. I mean, anyways, I'm not going to go down that path. We're just going to talk about the update. So the sweating, the temperature thing has also regulated to normal. And then, I had some movement in my glutes. They're still locked up pretty good, but I got some of it to unlock. And some of it was extremely painful, like, when you finally get to a spot that really needs it, and it's like, oh my God, that's like decades of pain concentrated in one spot, It's like, when you get to it finally, you know that that's it. That's one of the spots that needs to get back to life here. But it's not always. It doesn't happen whenever you want it to, and you can tug and tug and tug, and it just does not happen until enough time has gone by. Your body has gotten to a place where, okay, now you can get to that stretch. Once you've stretched other things, once you've let time go by and rest and all that stuff, you can finally get to this stuff. Unfortunately, it hasn't helped me that much in terms of functioning. It's, I can feel that I've got to the spots in my glutes. I can feel there's still a bit more to go. And I still have the same, this disability, the same amount of, my functioning level is the same in terms of what I can do. I cannot look down for 5 minutes. I just can't work on anything like this. I can't do it. And that's because my body's stuck. And it needs to be unstuck. But it only lets you do one thing at a time. You just try to work on whatever is the worst, whatever's nagging the most each day, and it's gonna move on you. But you gotta focus in and really contract these muscles and hold a stretch, find the bad spots. Don't just stretch anything, stretch the spots that need it, and go hunting. You have to hunt for them. Because it's not always obvious, especially when you have this base of 24/7 pain, and then you're trying to undo it, but you can't. You have to get to the spot, and the spot doesn't have pain. The other spots do. So you're trying to get to the spot that's locked up, that allows you to get to the other spot, which will release the pain. And this goes on and on. So the longer you've locked your body up, the longer it's going to take, and the more spots you have to hunt down. You're just tug of war with your body for years. And I have pain in my shoulders. I keep switching my hand because I can't hold my phone. I have pain in my shoulders because my posture is wrong and my tissue's stuck, and I'm trying to undo it. The other thing was, while I was working on my glutes, all of a sudden my right shoulder, I stretched into it, and then it moved. And I was like, oh, there we go. There's my shoulder again, And then I had shoulder pain that happened right after it, and I realized, oh, right, I remember that pain. That was a long time ago. It stopped doing that because my body stiffened up in that area and moved the posture enough to take it out of pain. But I was going the wrong way. My body was taking me in the wrong way. So I'm trying to go back. I have to go through this shoulder. It's gonna hurt now. But I have to keep undoing this stuff. This stiffening, this tension is killing me. So it's been 2 weeks of shoulder pain 24/7, and that may last a while, just because I remember this shoulder being a problem. So my strategy was, well, just leave it alone. Don't try to fucking fight it, because it hurts every time I fight it. So I just left it alone, and eventually it did lock up enough so that the pain went away. But then I had other postural problems. That's, once I had triggered headache pain plus low back pain at the same time. That's when the real chronic pain war began. And then I was stuck. Then I was like, I can't even stretch my way out of this. So it gets really, really, really bad. And I don't say that lightly because, like, you can't even speak. It's so bad. The pain takes over the whole body, and it's all you feel. You can't even think straight. You're just thinking about pain. You're thinking of trying to get by with the pain. It's like I'm just trying to whatever. I don't want to think about it because I can't turn it off. I want it to stop, and that's it. I don't know what else to do. So, it gets so bad, you have to tell yourself it's a long-term battle, and you have to take it one day at a time. And it was so bad for so long. I'm getting closer to getting out of this, but it's still bad, and it's still hard, and the pain hasn't stopped. I will feel much better when I get there. But I'm not really sure how to beat this other than to follow the same stretching sensations. Before my shoulder unlocked, I don't know if it was my shoulder or my neck that did it first. I don't remember now. There's a really bad spot in my neck here. It's been really bad. It's like up into my jaw, into my face. And I've been stretching like that with my mouth open. And I can feel it's still tight. But yeah, it was really, really bad. And I did one of these, walking. I'm like pushing into this trap here, right shoulder, right side of my neck, and something did release in my neck too. It kind of like, and I felt some fluid move in there. I'm like, oh, that's nice. But it's just like it just gets worse. I mean, you go to the bathroom and you get dizzy. Like I can't even. It gets worse the more you neglect your body. And pain is sort of the alarm system that you have to listen to. If you say, I can keep working, I'm fine, you're going to end up distorting your posture even more. So you're asking your body to hold on to this posture, and it can't. And it deforms even more, and then the pain ramps up. This was a very sneaky thing because it crept up on me, but the more I think about it, the more I'm pretty sure this is all old childhood injuries. I never went to the doctor or tried to fix anything the right way. I just curled up in my bed. Anytime I hurt myself, I would curl up in my bed and pretend it wasn't there. Mentally try to go somewhere else. And, now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, that's a recipe for long-term, muscle problems, connective tissue problems. So, it should be taught in school, and it should be readily available. But the doctors should understand, and they should be able to explain, but they really are lacking. I mean, strongly lacking. And it's a nightmare situation for healthcare. So it depends on what your problem is. You might find help, you might not. And the reality is, we are smart enough to do the helping. We just aren't, for whatever reason. There must be a reason, but it doesn't matter. There's no excuse. So, yeah, so I'm working on this stuff and inching my way closer, but it's still probably a ways away. So I was hoping maybe by the end of the year I would be back to work ready, but I don't know. I do not know. You can't even predict this stuff. I mean, I can't predict it. I mean, my body is locked up bad, and there's no sensation that tells me, you know, I can only compare to previous. I can remember, like, okay, this was worse yesterday. Maybe not yesterday, but day to day, all I'm looking for is it different? Did it move from yesterday? Is it different? I like different because for a while I could not feel different. For the first couple of years, it was like, even that first 6 months was so bad, it was like I can't even feel anything different. There's no sign that I'm getting out of this. The first sign was when I got my diaphragm to stretch just enough so that I could breathe, because for a while I couldn't breathe because everything was so locked up here. There was running out of space for my body to lock up. It was all, I mean, my hips, my legs, my feet, everything. And they're still like that. But it was so much more. And I couldn't feel anything. And getting my legs to come back to life was so incredibly painful. I mean, the calf muscles themselves are, I mean, just excruciating. But there's no other way. There's really no other way. So, at least not that I know of. I mean, I don't know if we have technology that can actually bring the muscles back to life, but everything on the market that I've tried is insufficient. Foam rollers are good tools. You know, resistance bands are pretty much useless still to me. They have very little application at this point. When your body is stuck like this, it doesn't matter, you know. You're not functioning correctly, so it's not about strength. It's about getting this to come back. And you need a stretch. You need a good, hard stretch in the right spots, but it takes weeks, months, years to get to these spots. So, I mean, the physical therapists seem to be missing that whole point about the tissue. And they say the word posture a lot, but posture doesn't. Posture is your tissue, right? It's really how you're held. But you're supposed to be loose. We just use our bodies in a way that tightens us up. Whatever you use it for, the body is conforming to that. I don't know. I'm not gonna I can explain. You could talk about it for a very long time. My whole point is that the physical therapist and the medical and the chiropractic are all very weak. And, you know, the body can be studied like a machine and therefore fixed. And these problems can be prevented. And we're not even close to doing that. So, I don't know. I don't know. The judge for my Social Security disability, the judge wants to have a second hearing, and it's scheduled for August 7th, which would be over 1,000 days since the date of application. So waiting a very long time. I don't know why it's taking this long, but the judge apologized to me for delaying this case, or the fact that it has taken this long, and she has made no effort to speed it up, as far as I can tell. She hasn't contacted me or given me anything to make this any easier or any better. When I called the office that that the judge is located, and asked the receptionist, why do we have another hearing? She said, I don't know, but there must be a reason. And that was all she could give me. I don't know what else to say, she says. So, there must be a reason that it takes, over 1,000 days to make a decision on a case that can't even be proven to begin with. She wants a medical expert to testify at the hearing, which makes no logical sense to me. She's saying that she cannot determine based on the information she has. So she wants to have a medical testimony, medical expert or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why it takes so long. I don't know why this is a process. If I'm claiming it, why am I not given the money? I put in the time to work. This is what insurance is. Insurance is when you're fucked and you need help, it arrives. Not you gotta wait 3 years and maybe it'll arrive, maybe not. That's not insurance. That's fraud. That's the opposite. It's stealing my money. So again, Social Security disability is in deep shit, and the whole administration is in deep shit as far as I'm concerned. These people cannot get away with such a thing. Cannot get away. So if my word has no meaning, listen to my word. You cannot get away with this. Cannot. Unable. Disable. Not able to do it. Those are my words. It is impossible for you to get away with it. Do you understand? Those are my words. You do not get to use words against me and then not listen to my words and take them seriously. You do not. When I was 10 years old and I was hurting and I was forced to go to fucking school against my will, you showed me Social Security, disability paperwork. You showed it to me. You said, if you cannot work, this is your option. I have not forgotten. "26 years ago, I have not forgotten." So you will listen to my word, or you will be disabled.